Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and in today's video let's have a look into a trick on how to reduce the general stutters in the simulator, but also one very specific type of stutter in Flight Sim 2024 that I used to encounter. I'm sure many of you are going to remember those videos, especially around high VRAM locations. Think for example Aerosoft Düsseldorf or Build Dubai, and combined with high VRAM aircraft such as the A350 or A380. And in those videos, after I've been looking at a particular point in space for a longer time, say for example the MFD on the A350 when programming the flight plan, but the same would also apply to the Horizon Sim 787, for example, or to other aircraft as well. And I've been looking at these locations for a little while, and then after, 5 minutes of just looking at the same location while I've been preparing the FMS, I try to look around again, look at other parts of the flight deck, and suddenly the sim would just have really, really bad stutters. Well, you might also have noticed that about 2 weeks ago, that problem has vanished from my videos. Now, there is occasionally still one problem where you guys get stutters because the recording tool doesn't have enough VRAM available anymore, but in the sim that has really become better. Now, let's have a look into how I did this. You might have noticed that I've got my developer mode enabled over here, and the reason is that we need an FPS counter. Now, by now I'm also using an overlay FPS counter, but for some reasons Streamlabs sometimes records it, sometimes doesn't, so well. In any case, let's do what everyone can do. Enable the dev mode in your advanced settings of the simulator, then go to debug and enable display FPS. And this is quite important. Now, we're going to run a couple of tests over here. So basically, just load up your simulator, load up the FPS menu, and then start looking around a little bit. And basically, what we are trying to achieve is we are looking at our frame rates up here, and we want to see what the lowest FPS value is that it's going to drop to. We can do the same thing in the flight deck as well. So looking around here, you can see it's normally going up to about 90-ish. Now, we can go a little bit further down and take something like saying it's not going to go below 80. Now, the next step, we can disable the frame rate window again. The next step is to go into your settings. So I try to play a lot with my settings in order to get rid of those stutters, and ultimately I just couldn't find any particular setting that would do it. I really experimented with it, but I just couldn't identify any particular setting that could get rid of those stutters and these effects. But thanks to a tip of a developer friend of mine, I then went ahead and enabled the dynamic settings, and this is the trick. Now, dynamic settings will normally automatically lower your global rendering quality based on a certain algorithm in order to give you at least the frame rate target that you've enabled in here. Now, as you could see during our earlier trick, this does not limit our simulator to a maximum of this, but much rather the simulator tries to achieve a minimum of this. And this is the reason why I told you we need to look around a little bit and figure out how our FPS look like and how our FPS decrease while we're looking around. Now, this was about 80 in my case. Therefore, I turned the dynamic settings on with a minimum of 80. Now, what's happening in the background when we do this? Basically, the simulator will ensure that the FPS don't drop below 80. If they do, it's automatically lowering your settings while the FPS drop below 80, and then when you get more again, it's going to increase them again. So basically, just during the stutter itself, the simulator would reduce its settings in order to achieve a higher performance. Now, by setting this to the lowest FPS that you will get in general, your visual quality shouldn't really decrease at all by turning on the dynamic settings, and the sim should basically give you the same experience that you had earlier with your global rendering quality settings as you had previously done them. But this really eliminates a lot of the stutters that you see in general, and it completely eliminated this stutter that you could see after looking at a certain point in space for a longer time, such as your FMS. And that's the entire trick. So, let me know if you have any other nice tricks to get rid of your flight sim stutters. I would be really interested in that. And let me know if you are already using the dynamic settings or how you have set your simulator up. I'm very much looking forward to your feedback. Be sure to leave it in the comments underneath the video. Leave a like to the video and subscribe to the channel if you're up for more. And finally, if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.